Amanda Seales. So while you have Stephen A. Smith and that big ass head tap dancing and shucking and jiving for, massa by getting mad at everybody over the whole Charlie Kirk situation and talking about celebrating. Amanda Seales is like me. She says she is Petty LaBelle. She's saying that she don't have empathy for that man and a lot of what he stood for. Because y'all know that political agitator, Charlie Kirk, has rubbed many people the wrong way. So I don't know why it's so hard for someone like Stephen A. Smith to understand that when you are someone who celebrates spreading hate and you made that your whole career, why are you surprised that the marginalized groups that Charlie Kirk didn't see it for are actually outside doing a "Can you feel the brand new day?" The dance from the Wiz? Why are you surprised that we all out in the street with the fire hose and everything going, doing a whole "Can you feel the brand new day" choreography? The Wiz, in case y'all didn't know. My black people know, but I'm like, just in case you didn't know what I was talking about. Or my colored people. I was trying to challenge Tyler for a second. But anyway, enough of the jokes. Let me get to the clip, courtesy of the Neighborhood Talk, where Amanda Seales weighed in on this whole Charlie Kirk situation, and then we'll come back and talk. Please hold. Oh, wait. Hold on.
First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy.
Restart that.
Have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk. First of all, Charlie Kirk don't believe in empathy. He said it's a bad thing. He said it's some new age made up shit. He also said people got to be sacrificed in order to protect guns. If he was saying that while fighting for reparations, I may have a little bit of empathy. But this white on white violence, he died? Damn, B. Life comes at you fast. I can't have empathy because I have no connectivity. I have more connectivity to someone who is a complete stranger that dies of a drug overdose than I do to someone like Charlie Kirk, because life is hard. And I understand that, because it takes very little for someone to end up committing themselves to an existence of numbness. I understand that. That man got murdered at 31 at a college event in the middle of a sentence talking about black gangs. What a way to go. Like oh, Chanel. He was actually taken out by an old white man in one of the whitest, whitery, witty whites states in existence. Empathy, because I have.
Well, pause. Before we get to the rest of this, she did say he was taken out by an old white man. That was what this tea was in the beginning. But, excuse me. But since then, we've come to find out that that is not the case. Even though I don't believe that that young man was named Tyler, not the creator. He's saying he didn't commit the crime, and I don't know. There's been some conflicting stories. They were talking about like he was on a roof and he went and changed his clothes. So now all of a sudden he's doing Lady Gaga as costume changes in the middle of an assassination. Like stuff ain't adding up. Then he jumps. They showed the surveillance of him jumping off. First of all, he was going down the steps. Leg was fine. They showed him on his way to the campus. He was limping, and then when he jumps off the roof and he's running, there's no limping. How you running with a limp? He was running regular. He threw something off the roof. I think it was the backpack that he had on. So something was going on. Like, where was the gun in the midst of all of this? Where did he put it? So there's been a lot of conflicting reports about what's been going on with this kid. So I don't know if I'm 110% buying that it was him, but this is the narrative that our media is trying to, legacy media or corporate media is trying to push. But I'm sure, like, as we further go down this rabbit hole, the tea is gonna come out. Because as they say, what's in the dark eventually comes to the light. So let's see if she has any more to say. Because this is the first time I'm actually watching these clips.
He didn't get murked in Watts. Now they took him out in Utah. They said Lady Oleana I want you to know it was us. Ain't no way it was a black man that took that man out. Not no Utah. Mm-hmm. And right as that bullet hit him, that man was in the middle of talking shit about gangs. White on white crime. These thugs, y'all. These thugs. Yes.
Yep. So when you run around here being white and thinking that you can't be, you Teflon and things can't touch you when you put these type of negative things out there in the universe, don't be surprised about, what transpires in the whole situation. So I'm 110%. Oh, wait, hold on. Because I was like, wait, what happened? I 110% agree with everything that Amanda pretty much said up in there. I don't think I mean, I was going to say, I don't feel like I got much to add to it, but I do. Because, of course, this man, this what happens when you talking out of the side of your neck. Now you end up getting shot in it. So you shouldn't be surprised by, the type of energy and things that you put out in the universe. So one person said, he says empathy is a made up word. He also said awful things about Breonna Taylor and more. And don't even forget George Floyd. He said that putting your knee on a neck is a standard police procedure. I'm like, what precinct? Because I didn't know that was a thing that you can get away with. And if it was, then why was the man put in prison for the crime? Where we got George Floyd yelling out for his mama, and it don't matter what his background was, or if he was committing a crime. If you commit a crime, you arrest him the right way. You read him they right, the Miranda rights. You put the handcuffs on him, and you cart him off to jail. You don't put your knee on nobody's neck. You don't beat him to death. You don't do any kind. You don't shoot him. You don't do any of that stuff. You do your job. You ain't paid enough to be out here taking nobody's knee and relieving a neck of oxygen or depriving them of oxygen. Somebody went on and said, okay, you could shut the fuck up with this old backhanded compliment. But they went and said, Amanda went from uninvited to the cookout, the front row seat. She has literally did her due diligence in defending Black America. First of all, Amanda's always defended Black America. Maybe a lot of y'all are just too slow to catch on, but Amanda always been out here windmilling hard for the Black community. A lot, but the fact of the matter is, y'all like to be selective in which Black people you want other Blacks to call out. So when she calls out Kamala Harris and a lot of these tap dancing Black folks who are very performative in their wanting to have Black people have rights and things of that nature. I'm not saying that Kamala is fully performative, but I'm saying like there's been some things that she has been called out on in the past when she's had prior jobs before to her becoming, in the Senate and then and vice president and all that other stuff. Um, or before her working in government when she was in law enforcement, that sort of thing. So people were always dragging her about, her past in that. So when you have certain people, y'all be getting mad when Amanda is one of the few that will call all people to the carpet on some of the things they do. Y'all want only a select few people to go at it. Don't just only be talking about, oh, you invited to the cookout because you want to call out a white supremacist. We should be invited to the cookout when we call out these Black coons and buffoons and these tap dancers who sit out here and act performative like they give a damn about the community, but they cut to certain organizations because they taking backroom deals too. And I'm talking about Al Sharpton, where he trying to play up that little thing with Zoran recently. What we knew in the beginning, before you even came on board, all of a sudden was all for Zoran. You was over there cooking for Cuomo. I ain't forget about that, sir. So to wrap all this up, this is why I always say, be careful what kind of energy you put out in the universe. Like I'm big on karma and how you treat people. So it's like, yeah, be careful with the type of energy you put out in the universe because karma never forgets an address. Now, like Amanda, I'm sorry, I can't have empathy and sympathy for someone who lacks sympathy and empathy for Black folks, queer folks, women, and trans folks, just to name a few. I can't have sympathy for white supremacists who wanted to see harm done to anyone who wasn't a white male. When you pretty much spent the majority of your career profiting off the downfall of marginalized groups, you cannot be surprised when these same groups celebrate your execution, as harsh as it may sound. So when you out there openly advocating for public executions sponsored by Coca-Cola, which I did like that. I don't know if y'all see that meme, but there was one where they had Pepsi backwards and the can was upside down, and it said, if you read it, Charlie Kirk and PEPSI is actually ISDED. So is dead. I was like, ooh, that's shady. And I was like, that's funny, but then I totally forgot the whole Coca-Cola affiliation. But if you would have said Pepsi, it would have really hit hard with that one. But apparently, a lot of people like Coca-Cola. I'm not a big Coca-Cola fan. I like Pepsi because Pepsi has like that fizz that with the soda, whereas Coca-Cola, I feel like it gets flat really quick. So I'm not a really big Coca-Cola fan. But anyway, um, yeah. So when you publicly advocate for public executions sponsored by Coca-Cola, when you say that people should die by guns in order to protect the Second Amendment, if you're going to live by the gun, don't be shocked when your life is taken by one in broad daylight. So that's all I got on that. And I'm sure that there'll be more Charlie Kirk stuff that'll be coming out in the weeks ahead. If it makes sense for the show, whatever. I'm not going to keep going back and forth with all this mess. I'll let other people handle it. But if it fits in with what I feel passionate or wanted to discuss, I'll bring it up on the show. Or if y'all want me to talk more about it, I'll talk about it. But so, like I said, we talk about everything on the show. We don't just do entertainment news. We talk politics. We talk all the things. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with Amanda? Where she's like, you know what, I can't have sympathy and empathy for someone who didn't see the same for me. Because if you don't understand where I'm coming from as a human being, why I gotta have empathy for you? And they always try to hide behind the kids and being a father and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, if he were alive today, what type of stuff is he teaching his children? Are you out here teaching your children hate? And then they were saying, oh, his wife needs to take over. I don't think she has that it factor that he had. And I don't think it'll go over the same. And then you got JD Vance trying to jump on the bandwagon for clout by talking about, oh, I'm going to host a special episode on his podcast. I'm like, we want to hear from you. You don't have the personality that Trump has. Hence why he always keeps your ass in the background. Unless you plan on putting on a wig and dressing in drag and doing the hula, that's the only reason why we want to see your fat ass, you know, and all that damn mascara you be wearing on TV or on the podcast, spewing whatever foolishness you trying to spew because you lack a personality. So don't nobody want to hear from your big ass, your big back ass. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you guys have to say on this story in the comments down below.